Anyone ever tell you the world is ending? Probably every day now, considering the way things are going. You know, it's a widely held sentiment. Well, I got some bad news. You know about Pixar? You heard about Pixar, the movie studio? I'm glad we're on the same page. I talked recently about the Pixar having a show called Win or Lose, where they were going to have a storyline about a character being trans that they ended up being scrapped because of like right-wing woke or whatever. Real sad stuff. You know, you can still see the like storyboarding at a clip of the character in Win or Lose. It's I wouldn't say it's subtle, but it's nice, you know. There are a lot of good folks in Hollywood, even for soulless studios like Pixar doing their best, but the censorship comes from the top down, right? And we all know where we're headed right now with this country, you know, and its regard for transgender people. Well, another subject is up on the chopping block now. Here, hold on. Did it get rid of me highlighting it? Come on, find me the paragraph. Nice. There we go. According to a former Pixar artist, the team behind Hoppers, the 2026 John Hamm-led Pixar film focusing on a human and beaver who swap bodies, was forced to downplay its planned message of environmentalism. This is a story about a human and beaver swapping bodies. You know what beavers do? How the do you take environmentalism out of the story? Unfortunately, when you have your whole film based around the importance of environmentalism, you can't really walk back on that, says the artist, who did not work directly on the movie. That team struggled a lot to figure out, what do we even do with this note? There's something particularly grim about the idea of the executives handing down a note like that without any further direction. Like, without any, oh, here's how you can talk about this subject in a way that's a little bit less over the top. You know, here's how you can have a more even-handed take on it. Nope, none of that. It's just talk about it less. Remember WALL-E? You remember, it's WALL-E, right? Oh, God help me. I'm not forgetting the name of that movie, right? WALL-E with the little guy on the earth? Yeah, WALL-E. Oh, sorry. I only saw the movie once. It's a good movie. It's also about environmentalism. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. You know, for decades now, conservatives have said, you couldn't make Blazing Saddles today. To which the obvious response is, well, yeah, because they already made it. You know, you'd see Blazing Saddles in the theater and you'd go, wait, hold on a second. I've already seen Blazing Saddles. They already made this damn movie. You couldn't make WALL-E today, could you? You couldn't. Because back in 2008, look, Republicans have been anti-acknowledgement of climate change for a while. I mean, you know, Al Gore lost back in 2000. This isn't new. But that's grim, ain't it? I mean, WALL-E was like an explicitly environmentally conscious film. And I'm not saying it's revolutionary work or anything like that. It's not. I haven't seen it in a while. I remember liking it. I'm sure if I watched it again now, I would go like, oh, I don't like this part or that part. But overall, you know, we take what we can get. And I don't think you could make it again. Not from a studio like Pixar, at least. Like, Pixar couldn't make it again. Because what the f*** is this? Downplay your planned message of environmentalism? What are you talking about? Look, at the end of the day, it's all about money. America might be the country, at least of developed countries, that has the most disbelievers in climate change, thanks to a coordinated propaganda campaign by fossil fuel executives, their lobbyists, their toadies, and their allies in the capital class, okay? Nobody believes anything for no reason. Nobody believes anything is senseless, as climate change isn't happening. Climate change, something that is evidenced by your own eyes and ears, by the way. It's not like you have to just believe the statistics. You can tell it's getting warmer. None of this happens for no reason. People are told to believe what they believe. And to think that things have gotten so bad now that we're moving backwards on this. I mean, it's kind of in line with the attitude of the bourgeoisie. You hear about all of these ultra wealthy people who are building like mega yachts or fortresses in Hawaii or Texas, you know, to survive climate change. To the wealthy who don't care if you live or die, they just want to make sure they survive all this. And whether they do or don't is immaterial to the point that I'm making here. It's that they are utterly detached from society. In a way, they're not human, or at the very least, they're not participants in the social contract, you know? To be human, I guess, like in a social sense, to be an adherent to that contract, I mean, we're talking about annihilation of billions and billions of people. We're talking about like the greatest threat humanity has ever seen. It's up there with nuclear apocalypse. And there are some people who are so detached from humanity that rather than, you know, use their considerable power to engage with it and stop it, which they could do. Elon Musk on his own is wealthy enough and powerful enough that he could stop climate change. That's not a joke. He could. With his money, he could easily sway the core, especially because, you know, the companies that he made, like Tesla, like he's already positioned to do this. He could easily use his wealth and influence to massively sway at least the Western world towards renewable energy. He chooses not to because they don't care. They don't care. And the executives at Pixar are probably in the exact same boat. They don't care. I mean, what difference does it make, right? They make a pro-environmentalism movie. You know, they make one with an environmentalist message. What happens? Ron DeSantis cracks down on them, says the movie's woke, and then fines them $1 trillion or something. That happens in the short term. In the long term, whether or not the planet cooks, I mean, what effect does it have on them? For one, most of them are old. And for two, even if they're young enough to experience the consequences of climate change, who fucking cares? They have private islands they can go run off to. They have servants that have had neurochips implanted so they don't, you know, feel an urge to rise up and stab their masters with kitchen knives. It's really grim, you know? And history will think history was not going to be kind to this period. I'm telling you that much. Don't think it's all the Republicans, by the way. The Democrats have consistently dropped the ball on this as well. Obviously, this is like a greater evils kind of thing, right? Like Republicans are obviously worse. I'm just saying. A lot of people had to do a lot of bad things to get us to where we are right now. Don't give up on Hollywood. No matter how bad the executives get, artists are always going to be predominantly left-leaning. You know? To be a creative, you have to be critical. People don't just want reality served to them on a plate. And even if they did, you know, it's not so easy to serve reality on a plate. A lot of nuance you got to put into that dish. People with a critical eye to the world who are able to understand why people enjoy the things they enjoy. Not just what they enjoy. That's a good creative. And people who are, you know, subversive in their mindset are better at doing that. There's a reason artists have always been left-leaning. Artists, scientists, authors, I mean, they're artists too, you know. Overwhelmingly throughout time. Not all of them, but most of them. They've been ahead of the game on a lot of issues, you know. You've probably seen the copy pasta. Einstein was a socialist. Well, he was. So suck on it. We're still going to get a lot of good art. It's just grim.